why I'm mentioning that is that a month before I got married, the Honda Odyssey, which you would have seen before on this channel in a couple of videos, broke down, and I was left looking in a post-COVID world for a cheap A to B vehicle. That's where I came across this bad boy. At the time, selling for about $26,000 for the base model. Now you can get a fully spec'd up one for about $5,000 or $6,000 more, which actually is a really good deal. But when I was looking at it, the stuff that I needed was already in the base model. One of the biggest things that sort of lets the base model down is these little 15-inch tires. Now the 17s look about 3 times better, but when I looked at $6,000 a percentage of thanks mate, of $26,000, it's like 1/5 of the car, a little bit over. Is it really worth that for, you know, a couple of extra warning lights and some bigger rims? No. But yeah, I've had this car for about just around 2 years now. I've never had any big issues with it. I've just kept on time with the servicing, so we can get the warranty up. Had that done for a mechanic, all part of a no-data lease, and I've had no issues at all. Planning on leasing to sort of buy, so at the end of the 5 years you just lease it for another 2 years, and all rolled into a package. It costs about $500 a fortnight, including your fuel, your insurance, your tyres, and your rego. So it all gets wrapped up into one little tidy payment. If you have a look inside, you've got, as far as the keys go, just the basic flippy job Hyundai been doing for about a decade now. Yeah, automatic transmission. It does come in a manual as well, but I'm no longer as young as I once was, and I don't really feel like shifting my legs around every time I stop. Just lazily cascading my foot off the brake onto the accelerator. Got the back, and if you have a look in here, this is with an adult in the front and an adult in the back, because we haven't adjusted these seats. Still, like, it's a little tight, but
I've got the seat all the way back.
Yeah, so this is with the seat all the way back, and I've flown Jetstar before. This is more legroom than you get in Jetstar, okay? As you can see, all kinds of random stuff goes in the back of here. Obviously, have the you do get bottle holders all around, so even in the back here you get bottle holders. There's no vent in the back, but you still do get a little bit of aircon from the front, of course. Is massive for the size of the car and for the price of the car. And of course you've got that 60/44. Very easy. One button. One push. And then you've got tether points on the back as well for your child safety seats. This has 2 modes. I've always just kept it in more storage. It does mean that it's not flat. So when you're up here, it's completely flat, but I prefer having extra storage because I hardly ever fold down the seats. And one little Easter egg of this car, or you just want something that's just a little bit taller and you don't want to take this out, you can actually, I can get it to do the thing. You go like that, which is cool. Now the first thing you might realise is this engine bay is pretty dirty, and I'll tell you why. I've never had to lift this hood up. This is like the second time. I think the first time when I bought the car, the mechanics handled all this for me with this car. I'm not making the same mistake I made with the Accent, which is stuff up the warranty period by servicing it yourself. But yeah, just a little 1.6, not much to look at. You know, and part of the reason why I bought this car is when I had my Ascent, which was a similar sort of thing, you know, economy car, 1.6. I think I sold it with 260,000 kilometers on it for $6,000. I bought it with 45,000 kilometers on it for 16, and I replaced 4 parts that whole time. Totaling 4 parts replaced by mechanic, totaling under $1,500 AUD. So realistically, you can't complain about that. Yeah, this is the reversing camera. One cool little thing is that when you turn the wheel, it will show you where your car will end up once you finish reversing. So if I go full hook, it'll kind of show me where I'm going to end up. So let's say, for example, this is my other car we're reversing into. And you can kind of see that if I keep it in lock, it'll kind of show me where I'm going to go. and then it'll stay on for a little bit after you go into drive. Alright, well guys, here we are in the middle of a Saturday, and this is really what these cars are really meant to do, sort of, is that transport, that sort of cheapest transport from A to B. And if we come in and have a look over here, we're averaging about 6.2 per 100 kilometers, so 6.2 litres per 100 k's is pretty good. Takes off fine, relatively speedy. You'll feel when you put your foot down it does rev a little harder with those fake gear changes on that CVT transmission, but I kind of like it. You know, I love it actually. I haven't had any complaints with this car. We are now sitting at almost 70,000 k's. I have not replaced a single part. I bought this car with around, I think it's just around 15,000 k's on it. And yeah, I've had no parts to replace in those 55,000 kilometers. Over here you've got cruise control. I've got the base model, so I don't get USB-C, I just get USB, cigarette lighter. You've got the standard automatic. You can also change gears like that. If you come and have a look over here, you can also change your drive mode, so you can go into sport, which just means you just rev a little bit harder. I usually keep it in eco, or you can change sort of your terrain. It's front wheel drive, so I'm not quite sure what it's meant to do, but it does something. If you have a look over here, you've got a nice little storage bin, no glove box. Between 0 and 120 kilometers per hour, this thing is smooth. So when you look for the reviews about this thing being slow or whatever, but honestly, I live sort of I'm like in the final suburb of Perth. So I'm in Ellenbrook, which is the very last suburb of Perth pretty much. After that, you're in rural towns. So I'm regularly doing 100 and I've never had an issue. We're cruising along, cruise control on, doing 100, 97 k's an hour, it's 100 zone. Using an average of 5.9 litres per 100 now that we're back on the highway. I mean, you can't beat that, you can't complain. I've always found that 1.6 is the perfect size engine for an economy car that you don't really plan on towing with, because it's just fast enough to match the traffic and overtake trucks, but you don't have to make any sort of concessions on speed, whereas with like smaller cars, like let's say a Suzuki Ignis, you would.